Good afternoon, everyone. I say everyone, I'm talking to myself at the moment, but I'm going to keep going anyway. It's Saturday the 23rd of May, and it's the noonday snack. Are there any noonday movement snackers who would like to join this session? Struggling, vying for position in the light. This particular week, we're not uploading all of the videos to YouTube, so this particular one may not appear on YouTube later on. So we're going to be posting a new selection of just 6 every Monday. So you may, you'll be able to find this one on Facebook, but perhaps not on YouTube. For now, we're in the zone, we're in the movement snack zone, and we're welcoming the movement snackers. Wales has arrived, Leicester has arrived, so that's Kelsey and Chris and Fran. And Dawn, Scotland, Wales, Leicester. Fran, can't remember your location. Trying to remember. So as you arrive, please tell us where you are. It's really helpful for us, everyone of us at LLT, to understand where you're tuning in from. UK or wider. We have an international following on the movement snacks. Come in. Variable weather where I am, so perhaps the sun and the weather is going to keep you in the garden. Hello Louise, London I think. Maya in Inverkip. Great to see you lot, and that's 2 for you today, Maya, I think. Yep. Fiona's in, Scottish posse are in, Scotland in force. Come along. We had an influx of new members this morning, so hopefully they're navigating their way around the page to find us. Hello Bolton. Windy. Thanks Fiona, I'm guessing that's the weather, yes. Also Jane is hi Bex from Windy. From Windy somewhere. The minute, Jane, it just says, hi Bex from Windy. Wherever you are, I get you. I don't go out in the wind without a crash helmet. Super G is in the house. Anderson G, da house. Nice to see you, George. Hello, Jane. Edinburgh has arrived. Jane and George, hardcore movement snackers, with us since the off. We have a really broad following now of experiences with the movement snacks, accepting a fair few new members today and all week. They're continuing to find out about us, and of course some of you were here at the beginning. London, Jane, it's windy in London. Afternoon, Bex, horrible. I read that Bex was horrible there, but now I understand it's the weather you're talking about. Hello, Patelbat. Good afternoon, Patelbat. The collective's in. The Elliot Day Chapel collective is in. Wondering if the washing is still on the line. Mum's just done a shout to Dad because it started to rain, so they're currently battling with the washing to get it in. How are we doing for time? Whoa. We are there on a 3, 2, 1 already. So I'm going to do it and say 3, 2, 1. Good afternoon. My name is Bex Townley from Later Life Training. If you're new to the group, welcome. Great to have you. Thank you for inviting your friends. In these movement snacks, you'll see myself, Dave, and Kelsey. And we sort the rotas out every week, so we never quite know what we're going to be doing after a week. So you get used to see us all. If you're new to the group and new to movement snacking, have a look at the movements first, and initially stick with the stuff that looks familiar to you. And you might want to try them in seated first and then come to stand with external support as and when you're ready. So in general, have a look, have a feel how things are for you. We will offer you various options in sit and in stand, so have a good look at it first and then decide which is the best one for you to start with. So for now, we're going to get on with the theme of today and all of this week, certainly in the noontime snacks, is the functional task of picking up objects and stepping over objects. And lots of the movements, all of the movements we've been doing in these weeks and months directly affect the success and efficiency of those movements. So we're going to delve into them a little bit more deeply, but more mindfully this week, shall we say. So let's get on with it. As with all of our movement snacks, we start with a circulation boost. This can be done in standing, or it can be done in a seated position. I'm going to talk you through the standing prompts. Continue if you know what's coming. Let's get moving with external support close to you and at appropriate height. Weight even across the feet. Stand up taller, and for now, start to transfer the weight from one foot to the other on a steady marching action. Feet are hip width apart. Keep using the support if you feel that's going to help with your confidence and your ability to stand upright. Here's the next key prompt. Grow taller in the centre here, so lifting out of the hips. We're trying to get as much support from the trunk as we can so that movements underneath and around it can be more successful. Continue with this steady state rhythmical march, bringing in an arm, alternating with the other arm. When you feel comfortable and confident, bring in the two, or continue to switch between the two. Continue with that in stand. Keep it steady. Here's the seated prompts. If in a seated position, if you haven't already, first critical prompt is to sit tall away from the back of the chair, so you're doing the work. Take up some support at the side, lift and shift, and progress the buttocks forward just past centre. From here, same prompt as stand. The arm action is rhythmical and steady. I've got a bend in the elbow, and my elbow is pressing backwards, chest is open, and I'm lifted through the centre. Once you've done a few of the arms in the top half, back down on the foot focus. Ankle, feet and toes are the focus in sit or stand. If you feel confident and comfortable, bring those together, and you may feel it eases coordination if the hands come together here. Continue with that, whether you're in stand or sit, and then thinking about even more the foot positioning. So you might want to slow it down a bit, have a glance down to see what's happening at ankles, feet and toes. Are the heels coming up first and the toes up last? Are the toes going down first and the heel down? So we have this rolling action. This circulation boost serves to do just that for a minute and a half, at the end of which you should feel the need to perhaps take a couple of deep breaths. No more, we're not exhausted, we shouldn't be hot and sweaty, but you certainly feel you've had that little injection of the circulatory system. Moving on to our first series of movements. Just before we do, have a glance down at your feet, and can you pick up the heels but leave the ball of the foot behind? Have a glance down to see if that's happening. If you are choosing to do this in seated, but standing and standing easier is your goal, the movement is the same. Lift from the centre, have a glance down, pick up the heels and leave the balls of the foot behind. If standing out of a chair isn't your goal, isn't on your radar, options here are going to be around the hip walking forwards and back, or it may just be a hip lift and shift from a sat position. Trying to pick up, shift up the hips if ankles, feet and toes are not on your radar. So we prepared the circulatory system, we've prepared ankles, feet and toes. Now let's translate that into the functional movement we're after. And this is foot placement. The focus now is foot placement and weight transfer. It's how we walk, it's how we step, it's how we move. So take up support. Standing option is this. The leg furthest from the support. Lift tall, and then you take a step and return back to base. The focus is on the foot placement, so have a glance down if that helps to see what's happening. And we're aiming for the heel to strike first. Take up support. Lift taller. Shift the weight, take the step, heel first, and then come back. Can you see? I'm going to turn so you can see. When I take that step, my back heel comes off and then comes down again. So when I step in a forward direction, my heel strikes first. Take a pause. Here's the second position. The second position is slightly to the side. When I go to the side, lengthen and lift. Get all of the support from the centre. Use the support. It's a sideways step, but the ball of the foot goes down first and then it comes back to centre. Same to the rear. Take this small first. Now later on in the day with Kelsey, you'll be doing some calf stretches. This is why that calf stretch is so important. A little step back, press the heel into the floor and come back. Now here's the fourth position. We do a switch in the base. So here's the 4 positions, the 4 focus foot placement positions in its entirety. With support, lift and lengthen. Forward step, heel goes down first, back to base. Side step, toe goes down first, back to base. Rear step, ball of the foot goes down first, then the heel, back to base, and then we have an adjustment, switch. Now to do the other leg, lift up, lengthen, step round. Be really deliberate with these steps so that we now have support on the appropriate side. So work through, have a think through those 4 positions of foot placements on both sides. Have a think and a feel around that. I'm just going to put in some seated prompts. Here's the seated options, folks. If progressing to stand and spending more time in standing is your goal, the foot placement prompts are exactly the same. Before we do anything, lift and lengthen. All of the support of standing tasks like picking up objects and stepping over objects comes from the centre and the position of the spine and the hips. So here's the seated ones. There's the heel straight to the front. Come back to base. There's a little side one and come back to base. Now we're only going to go front and side in seated, so then we change legs. Heel strike, come back. A little step to the side. I just want to turn this way so you can see that the side is small and I still have my hips and my knees in, not too far away from the hip, so it's a small step. If lower limb and toes aren't the option, what I'm going to suggest is a repeat of the back extensions from the morning mobility session, because any reach and grab task in seated is really going to require lots of strength and support from the centre. So mobilising the spine, having that degree of extension is really significant in seated reach and grab tasks and in lower pickup tasks. All right, take a pause. So foot placement in 1, 2 or 3 positions directly influences how we step, reach, grab and step over objects. I'm going to be building this up over the week. Okay, ready for the next one? There's a short test at the end. I hope you're taking all this in. Knee bends in 3 positions. Have a look. Take up support. Don't want to challenge balance in this. External support to the front. Lift and lengthen. This is critical. This support structure is going to help with all step over pick up tasks. Here we go. Watch my buttocks, please. Bend and stand. The knee bend, I like to think of having eyes in your backside. So although I'm looking forward with my real eyes, actually I lead with my buttocks. And can you see what that does for my hip and my spine position? So this is our hip hinge. Eyes in your backside. Have a look to see what's behind you and then come up. Two important bits of that. as I look behind me with my backside, I'm really pressing my heels into the floor. Okay, so I keep the weight even. You heard Kelsey yesterday talking about weight as a balance scale, that you have equal weight across both feet. Absolutely that. Weight transfer, this weight shift is everything about strong and steady on feet tasks. Let's have a look. Here's the second position, and it will bring in that little side step we just did. So it's a wider position, knee bend and stand. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see. There's the foot placement we just did. Slightly wider, just slightly knee bend. So it's the same position and then come up. Bending the knees, hinging the hips is all part of how we reach and grab and functional lifting. But can you feel all these strength activities, these little movements that all link together to make whole tasks successful? Here's the third position, and it's probably the most critical for stuff like picking up from lower level. Have a look. And it involves the step we've just taken. Just a little step, and it also involves the balance progress check you did with Kels yesterday. Here we go. There's the knee bend now. Come up and come back. So a knee bend in 3 positions looks like this. Hip width and parallel. Bend and stand. Slightly wider, just slightly bend and stand. Back to base. And then slightly forward, bend and base. And can you see through all of those 3 positions, chest is lifted, I've always got eyes in my backside, and that leads the whole movement there. Can you feel? Keep taking up support. Now, the smaller the better to really get your head around this, to get your head and your buttocks and your eyes around this. Have a feel, keep going with that. Seated prompts are these. Seated prompts are the very beginnings of the jockey lift. So the heels come back a bit, lengthen and really get the length in the spine. And here's the little hip hinge. We're going to do that in a minute. If you squeeze your heels into the floor, you're going to start to get those eyes in your buttocks squeezing. So there, just this. And if you want to, you can start to take the step and then do that as well. If ankles, feet, toes, legs are not on your radar, it's not something appropriate for you to progress, I'm going to suggest that we go for the turn and the functional reach. So you've got your trunk rotation from the morning, plus we're bringing in the functional reach. Or you might want to take that with double arms. So your focus will be on that support structure with the buttocks. Which brings me to the last movement. We're all in on this, and even if you are steady and strong in standing, you may decide to have a sit in a hard chair because you can really get some great feedback, when I say feedback, from your brain and your kind of senses about what's going on. So we're going to do some hip hinging with some functional reach and buttocks up. And we've been doing buttocks up over the week. And for this one, think about your buttocks, your big muscles here that majorly influence how we can stand out of chair. So have a feel. Hip walk forward. Here we go. Lengthen out of the centre. All the length comes from here. Find your buttocks. So give them a squeeze. So as you squeeze and contract those muscles, can you see there's a bit of lift going on? I'm in a hard chair. That lift won't happen if you're in a sofa. But that's literally the muscles contracting. And when we talk about weight shift in seat positions, weight even across both sit bones. Now, can you feel how my buttock squeeze position is linked to my hip hinge? So bring the heels back a little bit. It's as if we're going to stand, but we're not. We come back to here. In the 4 o'clock later with Kelsey, you'll be doing a back of thigh stretch, and you'll be taking this hip hinge position exactly. So make sure that you're not slumped. Lift, 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 lift. Give your buttocks a squeeze, and you're going to take a reach and squeeze your buttocks to bring you back. And you can start to reach all around the front area, and you can start to reach a little bit higher. And if you reach out to the sides, you'll start to feel one buttock squeezing more than the other, because that's the anchor. That helps bring you back. If in standing, It's a little knee bend and a reach, but can you see the direct line here as I look out the eyes in my backside and reach forward to the target? You get this straight line. And the thing that will help all of that is the tummy activators that Cal did with you earlier in the week. That's the movement snack, folks. So, keywords were the weight transfer, support from the centre, the foot placement and the hip hinge. And all of these things, when we talk about mindful movement, if we can lock in these kind of principles of movement, everyday tasks will become more efficient, which means you can do more of it because it won't take as much energy. So in the beginning, when we learn stuff, it might slow stuff down a bit, but we'll adapt over time and it will become automatic. So we're almost relearning, perhaps. Relearning or enhancing how we move. So all of those movements we've done today link into stepping over stuff, picking up stuff. You've got me all on the noon days this week, so we're going to stay on that focus. And also Kaus and Dave will start to link in with those two really functional tasks. Have a think between now and 4 about mindful foot placement. Maybe just this, even when you're walking, sidestepping, have you got that support from the centre? And are you really optimising ankles, feet and toes to be successful in these functional tasks? That's it. Keep on moving. I'll see you tomorrow back on the noonday. We're going to stay on this thread. Keep crowbarring in. Go back and have a look on this page. Perhaps go around them again. Pick one thing and focus on it. See you tomorrow.